Today I want to show you guys the absolute best champions to use when it comes to auto farming Realm of Legends. And some of you might be a little bit puzzled right now thinking like, dude, are you kidding me? Didn't you just post a video on this yesterday? Didn't it take you months to make that video? Far too long, by the way. And you couldn't even tell us in that video who the best champions to use? Unsubscribe, this channel's garbage. But here's the truth behind that video. There was a secret that I was trying to keep hidden while trying to give you the information at the same time. I was trying to hide the fact that what we were doing was solving a mathematical equation. And I was showing you the work behind solving that mathematical equation without describing it as such. Because while some people find math to be interesting and enjoyable to look at or even figure out on their own, others find it anxiety-inducing, find it to be overwhelming, and in particular, when playing a game, they don't want to be sitting down crunching numbers. They just want to play the game. They want to know how things work without necessarily getting into the nitty-gritty, the numbers behind it all. But you need to watch that video if you're serious about wanting to set up a team that can auto farm potions for you. You need to watch that video and then come back to this one. It's actually a two-part video. I'm not going to be going into all of the same info that I covered in the last one. It'll be a lot more entertaining if you just watch that video anyway. And I'm not saying this just to get extra clicks on the video. I never tell people to go back and watch my older videos, but in this case, it's very important. All right. So it's posted in the description. It's posted in the top of the comments. Pause this video, watch that one, come back. All right. With that out of the way, there are a few things that I covered in that video that were very important. Essentially, the mathematical equation is something along the lines of you need to heal more than the damage that you are receiving, and you can find ways to boost the amount that you heal. You can find ways to reduce the incoming damage, and then you also need to make sure that you're dealing enough damage to kind of cover the RNG aspects of things, to, you know, blast through Black Bolt and Hulk fast enough before you know, their damage ramps up. I mean, Hulk, just as he gets low in health, his attack increases. Black Bolt, as you're landing the critical hits, he's gaining those permanent buffs. Storm, you want to sit through as few specials as possible. So all that damage is actually an important factor of things as well, right? But the absolute most important thing is your champion needs to heal for more than the damage that they are receiving. So without further ado, the three teams that I'm going to showcase today. Number one, if you're not running Suicide Masteries, I'll show you who to use. Number two, if you are running Suicide Masteries, I'll show you who to use. And number three, if you don't have either of these two best options that I'll show you, I'll give you an example of a team that you can just throw together, and you can kind of use just a random assortment of champions that will get the job done. You do need a certain level on these champions, which varies, but yeah, let's just break down the champions. So King Groot, I feel, is the absolute #1 best option to use when not running Suicides. He might even be the best option when running Suicides. The dude's ridiculous. I can't believe they buffed him as much as they did. He already had like the highest healing in the game, and now they gave him actually ridiculous levels of damage with being able to stop the opponent's healing and reduce that incoming damage as well. So yeah, King Groot is going to be the #1 best option. Again, at least if you're not running Suicides. If you are running Suicides, I will show you another champion to try out that may be slightly better. It would take a lot of testing to figure out exactly which one is best without running Suicides. Or I'm sorry, with running Suicides. But without running Suicides, the answer is King Groot. Actually, before we get into the synergies, really quick, he does need to be awakened as well. And for example's sake, this is essentially the biggest King Groot we can get, but it will work with a 5-star champion. I've tested it. It's just that, of course, the stronger the level your champion is, the further you're going to go, the faster you're going to get those potions. So he has ridiculous healing when awakened. It's baseline here at 9,700, but this is affected by the recovery mastery, so that actually bumps it up to about 11,200 health. And although it says health over 13 seconds, there's essentially a 13-second cooldown, so you're really getting that health every 26 seconds, and that comes out to 431 health every second that you're going to be getting with King Groot. Again, I know we're getting a little bit mathy here, and this is what I was trying to avoid in the last video, which is why it was so important. Hopefully you guys just found it entertaining enough that you can see through all the math. Okay, next thing, while this is not absolutely required when running King Groot, because he is so sustainable all on his own. If you can pick up the Inequity Mastery, King Groot on his special one, he lands permanent armor breaks. So if you can pick up the Inequity Mastery, you're essentially going to be reducing all damage coming in by 36%. All he has to do is land 2 special ones. Each special one now applies 3 permanent armor breaks. It's going to happen every single fight. As a bonus, you could also pick up Resonate to reduce damage, but honestly, Inequity is far more important for King Groot. So if you didn't want to run Resonate because it makes arena grinding a little bit slower or something like that, you don't have to. Just pick up Inequity. Or, like I said, you can do this without the Inequity and Resonate Masteries too, but if you really want to farm efficiently and make sure that you can go the distance without having to come back to your device, you want that mastery. As far as the team goes, now that we've covered his healing and increasing that healing and reducing the opponent's attack, now we can focus on adding damage to King Groot. And all of his synergies will do just that. There's a double synergy here with I-Bomb. By the way, even though I'm using some like higher level champions for these synergies, I'm going in with the assumption that you're only using King Groot. You can kill off the rest of the champions before starting the run. But I-Bomb here, he has a double synergy. He's got one on King Groot. I'm only going to go over the King Groot synergies because, like I said, we might as well just kill off the rest of the champs. It says here, plus 35% poison and armor break, debuff duration. Only really care about the poison increase. And honestly, he's not going to hit that many special 2s throughout runs. So it's not even the biggest deal, but this one actually is. This is a huge deal, this part of the synergy here. It's a long description, and I'm actually going to skip the first part of the description. It basically gives you some poison damage when King Groot is in his healing phase, just on his attacks. But the second part is the important part. It says, additionally, the chance to gain Fury charges during cooldown is increased by a flat 11%. The way King Groot works is that when he's healing, when his Furies are on cooldown and he starts to heal, he has a chance on contact to bank a Fury, essentially. Where after his healing phase is done, he'll gain those Furies again, and he'll have additional Furies thanks to this mastery. So yeah, it's actually a really strong offensive mastery for King Groot. The next one works pretty similarly here with Crossbones. This one says, while fighting hero champions, Malice is just his Fury mode. Malice grants an additional Fury buff, and the chance to gain Fury charges during cooldown is increased by a flat 10%. So now we're increasing it by 10% with this synergy. We're increasing it by an additional 11% with this one. Those two stack. This one is only against hero champions, but a lot of the champions inside of Realm of Legends are heroes. And I believe every single one of the difficult opponents are heroes. I have to double check, but Storm, Scarlet Witch, Black Bolt, and Hulk, those are the 4 most difficult champions to fight. And I believe every single one of those are heroes. King Groot should be able to cruise through every single other opponent, including Wolverine, because I forgot to mention, you also need the Despair Mastery in order to get through Wolverine. But yeah, if you have the Despair Mastery, that's going to be super simple fight. Moving on to other synergies, Sasquatch makes a return to the team here. It says here, Malice grants an additional Fury buff and plus 30% Fury buff potency. So all of those Furies, all those additional Furies that we're banking, now they're going to be 30% stronger. Incredible synergy. The last synergy slot goes to another personal favorite of mine, which is Man-Thing. So Man-Thing here, for King Groot, says Malice grants 2 additional Fury buffs. So every time you're at the start of the fight, you gain those 2 additional, and then every time you come out of the healing mode, it's another 2 additional Fury buffs. And the Fury buffs for King Groot, they're actually pretty strong. Again, I don't want to get too mathy here, but I will get a little bit mathy. So, personal Fury buffs. It says, unless otherwise stated, King Groot's Fury buffs each provide plus 645 attack rating. And keep in mind, this is for a 6-star rank 3, but 645, that's not the end of the story here. In this Malice section here, it says, while Malice is active, gain up to plus 100% Fury buff potency based on how long the fight has gone on. Max bonus after 100 seconds. So every second that goes by, your Fury buff potency is increased by 1%. We're also increasing it by 30% from that one synergy. So yeah, essentially we're going to be more than doubling the amount of attack that you gain from this Fury as long as 100 seconds goes by in the fight, which it will. So it's essentially about 1,500 attack per Fury. And we're easily going to have, 10 Furies at certain times in the fight. So King Groot is going to have, ridiculous levels of attack. Again, I cannot believe that they buffed King Groot this powerful. He's got incredibly high amounts of health. The healing is off the charts. And now the dude's going to have, in some cases, up to like 20,000 attack. That's going to last for 13 seconds, go on cooldown, and you're going to earn that back. Absurd. Totally absurd. We're going to get into the next example of a champion to use in just a moment, but first, I want you guys to be able to visualize some of the things that I was just talking about here with King Groot. So we're not even going to go through an entire fight. We're going to go through maybe half the fight at most against Winter Soldier, just so you can see some of these effects really coming together. So right off the bat, you can see that he starts out with those Furies, which again are decently strong right off the bat, but they're only going to get stronger as the fight goes on. Hopefully King Groot hits a special one here. Nope, he didn't. Oh, right into his block. Way to go, Otto. So hopefully he lands his next special one, because that will show you guys the armor breaks. And again, in addition to just making King Groot hit harder with the inequity mastery, this is the more important part. He's going to he's going to be reducing the opponent's damage. They're completely reduced their damage by 36%, which is absurd. Yeah, here we go. He's getting those armor breaks right now. It does consume some of his Furies, but that's fine. Like, they were going to go away anyway. And you guys can see the number next to his healing, the number that's kind of going up slowly. That's the Furies that he's banking, so that when the healing phase is done, he's going to have all those Furies. So look at he has 12 Furies right now. And again, after 100 seconds goes by in a fight, that's going to be 1,500 attack. So King Groot, including his base attack, is going to be about 20k. You can see, dude, he landed his special too. You can see how much damage that poison is dealing. And again, Winter Soldier, he's hardly doing damage. King Groot is totally winning that math equation I was talking about, where he's out healing, he's outpacing anything that Winter Soldier could possibly do. Here's the nice part about King Groot versus someone like Sasquatch as well. King Groot, more often than not, he's either going to be at full health or near full health, so that you're going to beat the RNG of someone like Storm, where a lot of times I was dying to Storm because I was already low, and if she just landed a big special attack, if I had a lot of stored power that amplified her special attack or something like that, Sasquatch would go down. But because King Groot, he's got like something like 55,000 base health here as a rank 3, I think. There you go, buddy. Get another special one in there. Now we have 6 permanent armor breaks on this guy. But yeah, you're not going to go down to a single special. And as long as Storm doesn't land like 3 critical specials in a row, you're not going to be dying to someone like Storm. You're going to be able to get through that fight. So again, 100 seconds has gone by at this point. We've got 10 Fury buffs. That's 15,000 attack just right there alone, plus the couple thousand base attack. Yeah, this dude's hitting pretty hard. We've got 9 armor breaks on the opponent. Just landed a 10k heavy attack that wasn't even a critical hit. Let's check out a little bit of this damage. So right now he's in his healing mode, but when we get back to the Fury mode, let's just really focus in on how much damage King Groot is actually hitting for. So 11 Furies. What's your damage like, buddy? You just missed your opening. Come on, land an attack. Well, he landed a special too. Even better. Oh my god, that damage. That damage was so good. This poison, by the way, I think that lasts for like 30 seconds or something, and it's ticking away for 1,500 damage every half second. I said I wasn't going to watch the whole fight, but god, that's just... I don't understand why they buffed King Groot this hard. It's crazy to me. But that's the game we're playing right now, man. You might as well use it. If he's buff as hell, man, you might as well put him to use. One thing I did not talk about is that King Groot also heals on his special 3, which looks like he's lining up right now. He heals for even more when he has a Fury buff active. But even without the Fury buff active, he's still going to heal. So King Groot, he's not going to go down. This is going to be the #1 option when it comes to auto fighting. And at this point, we might as well see the final hit count here, just to give an idea of how long it does take to get through one of these fights. Which is about... How many hits was that, buddy? That was about 85 hits. Now, he got hit a lot too, but still, he was able to do it in 85 hits. So yeah, King Groot, far and away, in my opinion, the best option. The hardest part is going to be getting it's like justifying tossing Sig Stones into a 6-star King Groot. But even a 5-star can auto fight reasonably well, but of course he's not going to do it as well as the 6-star. Okay, moving on. Diablo is going to be your go-to choice if you are running the Suicide Masteries. Again, you could try messing with King Groot running Suicides, but Diablo is insane with Suicides. He's got multiple ways to heal, and as long as he's awakened, his awakened ability is very important, you'll be reducing all damage coming into Diablo. Now, you can do this with a lower Sig Diablo, which, by the way, you can't really do with a low Sig King Groot. King Groot does not need to be Sig 200, but you'll notice that he definitely needs higher Sig. But here, like, the thing about Diablo's Sig level, Sig 1 reduces all damage by 15%, Sig 200 reduces all damage by 30%. The way the math works out, every percentage more that he's reducing damage is actually more valuable than the percentage before it. Not to get too mathy on you guys, but that's the way it works. So yeah, the Sig level definitely matters for Diablo. You'll get much more consistent farms in if Diablo is high Sig level. He's backing this up, the reducing the damage. He has 3 different ways to heal. He's got this Philosopher's Mix, which just every time he uses his special, he's going to gain some healing for 8 seconds. We're going to enhance that in a couple different ways in just a moment. He also has his Special 1, that whenever he uses his Special 1, which should be his most commonly used special, right? Auto likes to use a special if he has it in a lot of cases. So yeah, Special 1, should be using that quite a bit. And then as long as you're running the Willpower Mastery, and if you're running Suicides, that's why you have to be running Suicides if you're going to be using Diablo for this. You have a steady poison on yourself that doesn't deal any damage to Diablo, but it's just going to give you permanent willpower healing. Very strong willpower healing if you're using a rank 3 version of Diablo. Now, the one thing about Diablo is his max health is not that high. I'm actually running maxed out Vitality right now, but if you are running a Suicide Mastery build, his base health is only going to be about 36,000, especially considering you're going to have at least 1 point in Glass Cannon. That's going to reduce your health a little bit from that 36,500 number. So, yeah, you don't have as much health to play with, but because he's so tanky, because of his Awaken ability, he can also pretty consistently survive the likes of Storm that will, occasionally blast through someone like Auto. But let's enhance this guy. Now, this first synergy here is actually not as good as it may seem. It says personal poison debuffs become passive and gain plus 10% potency. Here's the issue with this. Passive poison effects are not going to interact with the Despair Mastery, which means if you want to fight through Wolverine, it's going to be better to not run this synergy. You don't need to fight all the way through Wolverine, but if you felt like it, he certainly could. And also, it's not going to interact with the Inequity Mastery that reduces the opponent's attack. Now, if you're running the Suicide Masteries, you can't always afford to put points in Inequity to begin with, so it may not matter all that much. But to be honest, I recommend avoiding this synergy. As far as which synergies to actually pick up, well, this one right here, super strong. Philosopher's Mix is paused during Diablo's special attacks. Philosopher's Mix, again, that is what it's one of the ways that Diablo heals. Whenever he pops a special, he has that 8 seconds of healing, and it might seem like a fairly low amount of healing, but if it's every time you pop a special, and we're able to pause the duration of it, dude, great. You can actually enhance that even further, picking up this synergy that's on Dragon Man. Dragon Man here. It says Philosopher's Mix. I was about to read Dragon Man Synergy. Philosopher's Mix gains plus 20% duration. Additionally, Vials of Might grant plus 10% special damage. So a little bit of a double synergy here with Dragon Man. This one you definitely want. These two are really the only synergies that truly matter, in my opinion. You can kind of fill in some different options from this point forward. You can just throw some additional health synergies on Diablo. That way you increase his willpower healing. If you do want to fight through Wolverine, I highly recommend running this synergy right here, which will increase the potency of your poisons, not necessarily the damage side of things, but you further reduce the healing that the opponent's going to have, which again only matters when fighting against Wolverine. Technically Scarlet Witch can heal too, but it's just Wolverine that actually matters when it comes to healing, right? But yeah, you don't necessarily need to run that mastery. It's not too important. You could even throw in a combination of Mr. Fantastic for a little bit more of additional attack, although you're not even going to really notice it. And then you could run this synergy right here, which just it gives you additional power. And the more specials that Diablo throws, not only is that going to increase your damage, it's going to increase the uptime of your poisons on the opponent, which is going to interact again with the Despair Mastery. It's going to interact with the Inequity Mastery to reduce the damage on the opponent, and it's going to increase your healing because every time you throw a special, you get that Philosopher's Mix. And then, like I said too, with this synergy, every time you throw that special, you're also pausing the duration of Philosopher's Mix. So the way they interact, it's actually kind of nice just to run this synergy with Mr. Fantastic. However, if you notice that you're dying, play around with a little bit. I haven't tested at like all SIG levels to know if at lower SIG levels maybe you do need the health synergies just to have that reliable increase in healing through the willpower mastery or something. So you can play around with it a little bit. Again, these are the three champions that I would say use these three champions for every single build with Diablo. The rest, experiment, have some fun with it. I haven't sat here and tested them all to see like if one is marginally better than the others. These two are the synergies that really matter. And just to show you a little bit of an example fight, I'm not even gonna fill in those other two slots because, like I said, they're not as important and they're flexible. This is we'll sit through. This time we really won't go through the entire fight for Winter Soldier. We'll go through about halfway and I'll quit out so you can see the oh, you know what? I'm not running Suicides. Hold on. This is my typical Suicide Mastery build that I've been running for a very long time now. It includes Mystic Dispersion, which, by the way, will help Diablo. There's not a ton of buffs flying around in Realm of Legends, but, you know, as I showed in last video as well, a lot of the champions inside of Realm, they at least gain Fury buffs, and while they're not gaining them all the time, you will get a little bit of influx of power through those buffs when they expire. And again, just the more specials that you can launch with Diablo, the better. But you don't need to run Mystic Dispersion. Again, this is just a natural Suicide Mastery build that I typically run for, you know, I have that Mystic Dispersion on mostly for Alliance War purposes, but not exclusively. But anyway, very, very standard Suicide Mastery build. I'm not running the Inequity Mastery here. We can restart this, and we can put Diablo to work now. And I'm still going to do this only with Diablo and these two synergies, because again, the last two slots, I don't think they matter a ton, although, again, at lower SIG levels, yeah, of course it's going to matter. Every little ounce of power you can get into your champions, it will matter. But let's sit through about half of this fight here, and we'll see. Right now, you can see that I'm taking a lot of damage because I still have the initial bleed on myself from the suicides. But once that bleed goes away, it's just all healing at this point. I'm getting 104 health every half second. And then when I actually pop some specials, you're going to see that I gain some additional healing. Come on, Diablo, pop a special. Come on, buddy. Any special will do. Don't even care which. Are you kidding me? Use one. I'll throw it into his block. I don't care. Oh my god. He actually held for a special 3. Well, can you use the special 3 at least? Thank you. My goodness. Drink your green plasma goo and let's get on with the fight here. So he's gonna have the Philosopher's Mix. And I mean, Diablo, his damage is like pretty legit too. The amount of poison damage that you're inflicting with this guy, it's just nice. What can I say? But you know, especially with that special 3, he only gets 1 special 3 a fight. Nice reparry, by the way, Diablo. But go ahead and pop your special 1 this time. Pause that Philosopher's Mix for us. You can see that's going to stack up to 2 if he does pop his special. But right now, yeah, just, oh, there we go. Finally, use his special 2. So now we have 2 of the Philosopher's Mixes. It totally balances out the recoil damage. And yeah, you can see Diablo, he's sitting nicely at that full yellow bar. So yeah, Diablo is the probably best option when running suicides. But you can also probably just use King Groot if you wanted to have... if you're someone that switches between mastery setups and you only feel like investing in one champion to farm, King Groot, with or without suicides, is probably going to get the job done. All right, here we go. Down to 2%. This is still the same fight. 1%. Couple of hits here. There we go. He ended with a full yellow bar. And how many hits in total was that, Diablo? Let's see. That was 115. So it was actually fewer hits with King Groot, even though King Groot was not running the suicide masteries. But both champions incredibly sustainable. Both champions going to be phenomenal Realm of Legends farmers. But what if you don't have either of those 2 champions? In essence, if you think about what a champion like King Groot is, a champion that has massive healing, it's a champion that's filling up his health bar over and over again. So it's as if he's a champion that has multiple health bars. So how do you replicate that without a champion that heals? Well, you just throw in 5 champions that all have a health bar. And although it's not going to fill up, so they're not going to be able to handle multiple fights, if you pick the right champions, you can fight your way through at least the first few fights inside of Realm of Legends, and it's not going to be as convenient as if you're using a champion that's going to blast through half or all of Realm of Legends. You are going to have to pay a little bit more attention to your phone, but it's still going to be auto doing most of the work. And I recommend using class advantage to reduce the opponent's attack, finding other ways to reduce your attack. So first fight is Winter Soldier, right? So Colossus is a good example. He gains armor ups, and if he pops his special 3, he's going to gain, you know, crit resistance. Or a champion like Magneto, if he's awakened in high sig level, his sig level actually is, it actually adds crit resistance. Critical hits, that's where most of the damage comes from. So crit resistance is going to be a huge factor here. Champions with crit resistance are typically going to go further. Not always, but... yeah, so you're looking for champions like that to handle the first fight. And then, you know, like someone like Doom is really good for, you know, Captain Marvel. Again, Doom's got... I don't think he can be crit by Cap Marvel. I think he has so much crit resistance that I think he's immune to crits versus Cap Marvel in here. And he has high armor, so he's not going to take much for damage. And a lot of the times he is going to be able to solo that fight if you're using a 6-star at rank 3 at least. Again, it's not going to be as effective if you're using lower ranked champions, but try it out. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You use a few energy, experiment a little bit. And then you could use someone like Torch or I-Bomb to get through Juggernaut. I've actually only used Torch for that fight. I haven't really messed with I-Bomb, but Torch, I think has a 6-star rank 3 at least. I think he gets through the fight every single time. I don't know if there's been a time where he didn't make it through that fight. I don't know. I don't always pay attention when Otto's doing his thing, but yeah, Torch is actually great for the Juggernaut fight, of course. And if you're running the Suicide Masteries, it could be nice to run Fury and Goldpool. Fury's pretty good just on his own because he has 2 lives. So it's as if he has 2 health bars of his own, even though the second health bar isn't a full health bar. But yeah, if you're running suicides, you're going to be able to shrug off the you know, the bleed, or if you're running a bleed immune champ like Colossus, you'll get rid of that poison, which helps out pretty nicely. So, you know, experiment a little bit. You just want to think of it as if instead of having multiple health bars in one champion that can heal, forget the healing, just worry about reducing damage and using individual champions to get you through the first few fights. And again, it's not going to be as convenient as if you're able to farm the whole thing yourself, but you know, you can still you know, use these champions to help you do some auto farming while you're doing something else, while you're cooking dinner or something like that. I don't know. Literally, if you just, like, you know, have this kind of setup and farm some potions relatively casually throughout the day or throughout the week or whatever, it's going to allow you to take on a lot more content in this game without having to bust out the units to get through it. Kingpin, of course, is great. He's got that steady healing, which is always nice. He's a good option. Apocalypse, you can build up. There's a bunch of mutant teams that you can just build an entirely mutant team that can fairly easily make it through Winter Soldier and probably Cap Marvel, but beyond that, I've noticed the mutants are really not effective at fighting Juggernaut. You will get wrecked. So maybe experiment with like an all mutant team if you don't have Doom. You know, go with a mutant team. Maybe get Apocalypse in there with the Cable synergy. That way he has all of his genetic potential. Throw in some mutants, and then maybe put like Torch on the team if you have a Torch to get through Juggernaut, or I-Bomb. I think I want to say I-Bomb can make it through that fight, but I haven't really tested that one. But yeah, you just have to experiment a little bit. And there are different setups that will allow you to get through the fights. But that's pretty much it, guys. So again, the by far though, like the number one best option, forget everyone else, the best option in the entire game is going to be King Groot. Probably even if you're running suicides, but even better if you're not running suicides, because the recoil damage, it kind of sucks, and he is already going to have such ridiculously high attack because of all those furies, and because of his low base attack. The suicides, they're only going to add they're like, the suicide masteries is going to be less than 1 fury buff in terms of potency. All right, so that goes to show, like, yeah, you ideally you actually don't want to be running suicides with King Groot, but you should be pretty effective with them anyway. But Diablo is going to be an amazing champion to use if you are running suicides. So I hope that this info was helpful to you, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. Put some examples in the comments if you're using teams to auto fight through Realm of Legends yourself, just to give people other ideas of what to do. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.